Welcome to Inside the Corner Office, a podcast where you will be taken behind the scenes of the daily life of a CEO. I'm Thomas Buberl, CEO of AXA. In each episode of this podcast, we will delve into a specific aspect of this role. You will see that making decisions from an office is definitely not what this job is all about. For every topic, we'll be joined by a leader of a major organization. I hope you will enjoy these discussions. Tune in and take a seat at the table. We are inside the corner office. Today, I've got the great pleasure to be with Enrique Martinez, who is the CEO of a very iconic brand in France, FNAC Darty. And whoever in France or in many other countries wanted to buy books or wanted to buy electrical appliances will certainly have looked and visited FNAC Darty. You've been at FNAC Darty for a very long time, I think 25 years. You have lived through difficult moments because at the time when it was still FNAC, it was not always a pleasure. You had difficult times, but today you are leading one of the big companies, I think across 14 countries, who is really established not only as a traditional brick and mortar player, but who has played all the registers from becoming digital very quickly, from moving into a different business model around services. So you've really managed and succeeded in the transformation of your model. And on top, you are a bit like me, also a foreigner as a CEO in France. So there's lots to talk about, and welcome today. Let's start with a simple question. Do you remember the first time we met?
Yeah, first of all, thank you to invite me. Thank you for the presentation. Yes, I think it was in 2019 in your office here in Matignon. And at that time, we just started having a kind of a relationship to the insurance in the stores. And I remember I was in the office for 2 years in Paris, and we have this lunch together in this magnificent diner room here, very classic palace. And I remember we talked about how it is to be a CEO, a foreigner CEO at a French company, because both of us, we were discovering what is entering the establishment in Paris. So I remember perfectly. I think we have met several times since there, for sure after COVID. But yeah, I remember 2019,
exactly.
That's 5 years ago.
It was the beginning of the partnership. I remember even afterwards, so as you say, we met more often. Maybe let's start with that point. At the time, we were both new foreign CEOs in France. Now, fast forward 5-6 years. How do you feel today? What were the challenges, and how did you overcome these challenges?
I think that these 5 years counts for 10 years at least, because of course in the business, but in life and society, things are accelerating every day in so many ways. And for sure, COVID has been a very stressful time for everybody in the business. So I think today I'm in my position for almost 7 years and a half, living in Paris for almost 13 years. So I think I can say I'm fully integrated, not just in my position, but in the country. And I think today, this is not my first challenge to be integrated, to know the culture and the people and the networking. I think that's been a lot of work, what is important to understand and to integrate. I think today I can use this treasure to help me with my challenge and my company into moving forward, that it was in the first year that, as we discovered a new country and we were not established for our studies here. So that was an extra job for us. But I think it was a good investment in terms of time and energy, because for sure, for different reasons, it's very important to be connected.
If you are not integrated, you won't succeed.
Yes.
For people listening to us, what's the one piece of advice, the one secret you want to give to somebody who does come to a foreign country and wants to succeed in establishing? What would you say? What should he or she do?
I think to try to fully understand the culture deeply and to invest not just for your work, but also in terms of to understand the society, the culture, the people. Invest your time, personal time, for sure, speak the language. I think this is for me, is the basic. It's very difficult to understand a country where they don't speak the language. Have this barrier when you need to be translated or force your team to speak their different language is very tough for everybody. So speak the language, respect the culture, and try to understand at the maximum. And for the corporate level, I think in the first years, invest and to meet people that's really important to have you the access to the things you need to develop your business, not just for the personal interest, but also for your company. And after, invest a bit of time, but it's not easy because it takes a lot of time to invest your network. But time enough to continue to be relevant in the discussions with the people all the time.
But do you remember your first time when you were in one of the FNAC at the time boutiques? You were standing in front of mostly French employees. How did it feel?
Yeah, for me, it was very impressive. I think my advantage is I was working in the company for 15 years before I came here. So I knew the company and some people knew me and was very well welcome when I arrived to France. But when you are here in front of the people, for me, it's a lot of respect to looking what is the heritage of the company and the importance socially of the FNAC, what it means a FNAC for the people here in France, for not just for the employees, but for the cultural society, for the customers for sure. That's a lot of responsibility, but on the same time, very excited. I mean, at that time and still today, for me, this is like a privilege. So I'm very excited every day to do different things. When I have the opportunity to meet the new people and to go friend, to start in the stores or the logistics, for me, it's like a big moment in terms of joy. And that's very important. On our job, we have different responsibilities, different things on the agenda. But I think one of the most important is to bring energy for the teams.
When you visit your business, which area do you like the most? Is it more the logistics? Is it the stores? What do you like most?
For sure, the stores is because it's my background in commerce, is where you feel that things are more close to the customers in terms of commerce, and there's a lot of reflex that it comes back. But on the end, what is most important for me when I visit things is not the things, it's the people. Today is more and more important to spend the time to understand and to talk with the people, with different people, no matter whether it's the management or the employees. And I understand that this is more relevant for me, that they bring back on the visits is not if the merchandising was perfect, is what was the energy that the people was and the expectation and the discussion and sometimes the information I bring back to the head office after these visits, for sure.
Do you remember something that marked you the most during these store visits that you have not forgotten?
Yeah, for sure. When you sometimes arrive, there is some catastrophes or some bad events personally, and you need to meet. That's something you never forget. I remember when there was the attacks in Paris, in Bataclan. Yeah. Unfortunately, there were 2 employees in the concert venue. They died. And I remember we were at the store, and the day after to announce to the team that they were lost. Yeah. That's probably one of the most strong moments in my career, because it was, for the people that was working together for the last 20 years, they discovered that their colleagues disappeared.
We're not there anymore.
Like this. And there are other moments, but probably this is probably the more powerful and an intense moment on the communication. And for sure, there are other very shiny and very brilliant moments when you open the stores, what do you do, things that are most light and easy, but the others, they are also important to be there. Yeah.
It's a big moment of cohesion when something negative has happened, that also you commiserate together.
Yes. Yeah. And be there and be understanding, support the team in difficult moments, I think is relevant. It's also relevant for us to be part of this because we are a family. On the end, we spend so much time in the company all the days, and we feel that this everybody has different positions and jobs in the company, but in the end, we are working for the same objectives. So when something happens with some of us, I think we feel that is something really affects us for the whole group.
I mean, you say you're like a family. How do you balance being like a family, i.e. friendly, respectful, but at the same time also making sure that stuff gets done? How do you find the right balance?
I think for me, it's okay, because it's, as soon as you are honest and you say the things that you don't hide your intentions, my view is I'm in the company and doing what I think is the best for the company, not just for me personally or for some individuals or for the shareholders. everything should be coherent and in some harmony. But when you need to do some tough things, you need to explain them, but in the end, it's my responsibility to do it. So the question is the best for the whole thing? And if it is, I'm able to communicate and to be transparent. As you mentioned in the introduction, our business has been very tough for the last year. We have been transformed for two different things, the change of your products. When I entered in the company, plus that the 50% of the revenue were coming from the music. Today is less than 5%.
Yeah.
And when I entered in the company, internet was just starting. We launched the first e-commerce platform in 1999. Today is 25%. So imagine in these 25 years, we have changed almost the full mix of products and almost the full mix of channels.
Yeah.
So that's been very challenging for the company. But if we haven't managed to do that, we should disappear. So on the same time, you need to take care of the team and support them to move on. But it's our responsibility to make this happening, make this transformation happening to continue to be relevant for the customers.
This is quite a tricky task because, I mean, we have the same thing. You need to realize early enough that there is a trigger point when you have to start the change. Because if you realize too late, you'll be dead.
Yes.
So what do you do to understand and feel those trigger points?
You never know if it's too early or too late.
It's always too late. That's my experience.
I think our business is very fast. Our business is not a question of decades, it's a question of months. And we feel very quickly, when you do something, whether it's good or not, the reaction for the customer is immediately. So we feel that what the things they should move on, as soon as you have the good data points to control and your perception is always okay. And when you think there are things that are going in the bad direction, you know it, we know it. And this is the advantage on their business, that we don't need to wait too long to move on. There is space to correct and to adjust their strategy, the commercial policy, or there are things that are a bit more long to move. But in general, I think look what happened in the COVID, we managed to move from 0 stores open in one day. I can't imagine it was impossible to manage the companies with 0 stores, and we do it. So that proves us that our ability to move quickly is probably bigger than we imagine.
Yes, but you also, you realized early enough that digital is not your enemy, but your friend.
Yes.
And so you had both legs, and when one leg didn't work anymore, you could fully switch. Had you not anticipated this, you would have probably have been in a different situation. If you look forward, what are the 3 things you do pay attention now to when it comes to evolving your business model?
I think we have in a situation that is not the best one in terms of macroeconomic standpoint. The business that the growth is very low. So we know that we need to change our business model in the next years. I think online penetration, multichannel, I think we did it. We managed to integrate both channels. We managed to do e-commerce in a profitable way. Our promise on the quality is okay. So we have not more to be afraid of the e-commerce platform that will kill us. I think we are in a good way. But even with this, it's not enough because business is not growing for the moment in Europe. So we need to change our business model. We need to integrate all the different sources of revenues. That's why we decide to move for services.
Services, okay. So what, for example, in services?
So, as you know, probably we have one of the biggest after-sales platform in the world. We repair more than 2 million products by year. And we decided 3 years ago to put this on the center of my strategic plan and to say, for sure, we are an e-commerce platform. We sell products, but our business is not to sell, it's to serve the customer. Yeah. And sometimes they need to buy a new product. Sometimes they need to buy a recycled product. Or sometimes they need to repair.
Exactly.
So my view is we are not producing anything. We are distributing and we are serving the customer. So let's do in a relevant way. Let's put this service program in the middle of your strategy, in the middle of your relationship with the customer. And let's try in the next 5 years to do that the biggest revenue sources for the group.
It's a great retention tool because you don't sell electronic device or washing machine or book every day, whereas repair keeps the relationship going. But I mean, this is a very different model. So somebody who sells a washing machine doesn't necessarily have the comfort to also then sell the after-sales service, in particular if it's maybe with a third party. So how did you make people shift that they do both and can feel comfortable with both?
I think we have the chance that we have a very relevant brands. And the teams have been working in this area in some way in the last year. So we don't start from zero. Probably starting from zero in this area should be impossible. So we take some assets and decide to move on.
Scale them up.
Yes, in a very massive way. And our conviction is, on the end, if you don't look at yourself, what is your relevant role in the future compared with your customer, there will be someone else that will be cheaper and easier and faster than you. So the thing for me was, what can I do that I'm the only one that can do in a relevant way? And my vision that we are developing is, this is the only thing that we can, for sure, do it as a major asset for us. For sure, we need to be good in the service level. We need to be good in the offer. We need still to be good in everything we do, but that's not big enough. And we need to move in a different. And I think we need to reinvent what is a retailer like us. What will be the next 15 years? What will be for the customers? What will be the relationship, the trust, the thing they will trust on us to do for them? And I think we need to learn, and we need to also train the customers to be aware and to be able to pay for the services, to trust on us, to make us like a relevant in the daily basis. And there's a whole journey. But we are very happy because even in this moment that the French economy is not very good, we have been able to start doing this process. So I think it's very promising.
And what's the right strategy, make or buy? Because we have that same debate.
Yes.
What's the right strategy?
I think as a traditional retail, we were more able to make all the time because we were more comfortable to control. I think today, what is happening with the AI and with this competitive landscape, I think we need to review what was our vision in the last years. And probably there will be other opportunities to do better in the future. I give you this example. In the AI, for sure, everybody is looking for how we can improve our operations. And there will be part that we will invest directly because there are things that are very relevant for us. But I'm for sure that other parts that probably they're specialists, they will be faster than us to do this kind of transformation. So we can wait to be relevant, but probably it's too late. Or we can probably look in a different way and probably share this part of the knowledge and the support for the companies.
What is like the most exciting AI opportunity for you in your business?
We are managing different ways. I say to my team, we are testing 25 different things this year, but I want to have at least 2 relevant. One for the customers, one for their internal productivity. For the customers, is looking what is for the search engine in the e-commerce platform to be sure that when the customer come to us, we will truly help them to find what's the best for them in a different way, conversational. And that's a lot of things that we are seeing that's very meaningful. The other thing is we face every 2 seconds, there's a customer calling us for a problem in a product, in intervention. And it's critical how we can use this information to make relevant the way we take this call in a different ways, not just to make a pre-evaluation, but also to send this call for the people that will be more relevant and faster for the customer in the best way. And that's the things we see that these new AI platforms, they can help us a lot. So this is the 2 things we are moving really fast. And now for sure there are other things that comes for the content. We have 30 million offers in the platform. So these tools can help us to enrich in terms of content, etc. There's a lot of different things. But there are 2, the most excited for me is the 2 first.
Going back to what we talked about earlier, I mean, FNAC Darty has been created by the merger of FNAC which was more books, and Darty, which was more electrical appliances.
Yes.
If I have learned one thing in my 9 years now is that big and bold acquisitions are contested a lot.
Yes.
What are the main lessons for you if our listeners plan to also make a big acquisition tomorrow?
I remember when we integrated Darty, the biggest movement for us in the history was, I learned that the probability to fail is bigger than to succeed and merge. Preparing the thing and the way we approach the thing was that in my mind. So we are facing something that we can fail. We can fail in a different ways. And probably the biggest mistake is always the culture one, is to underestimate the complexity to merge culture teams and let them find a way to continue to move forward in a different way. So that probably there was the other that invest more in the first 12 months since we started to integrate. There were around 10,000 people each. 1,000 people in the headquarters each. So it's a big movement to make. I need to do it very fast because it's a question of time to market and synergies to create. So I cannot wait for years to do. So I need to find a good timing between our ability to do it and to create the synergies without breaking the culture. So it takes us, but probably in my career, that's probably the more intense and excited moment in probably. It happens once in a year.
But also a risky moment.
Yes, critical. And we learn a lot in the way that the people, there can be from negative to positive and to be reactive, to be contributive for a process like this. And that was a big journey for us. And the second thing is you should not underestimate the time.
It takes 20
It takes time. Yeah. It takes time.
But it must have obviously been so successful for you that you didn't stop afterwards. You continued doing smaller acquisitions, not another big one. I understand as well from you that going forward, acquisitions will also play a role. Why did you go into that direction and why do you continue going into the direction as opposed to organic growth?
Yes, organic for sure is where everybody is putting energy and gaining market share, moving forward in a different business model. But on the same time, the only way that in this industry they move for a area they can continue to invest in the future, etc., is to consolidate. It creates synergies, have purchase power in the local level or in the European level. So we decided to move in Italy to integrate the Darty Italian, we call Unieuro. And that opened a new phase for us in this integration. That COVID was kind of a stop. And now I think we are ready to...
Next one, as you said, next phase is coming, exactly.
Yes.
And also, low organic growth will lead to more consolidation.
Yes, consolidation. And I think we create this business model with the service, everything we talk about it. That is something we can export. So we are bringing innovation in the way that this industry can be played in other countries. And we are something new that can bring more value in the companies we are buying, not in particular in Unieuro in Italy. And that's probably the next years. And also it's excited to understand what is new and to integrate a new team. And it's a good opportunity for us.
When you think back, what comes to your mind?
Well, it's like crazy times because it's FNAC and Darty were competitors and enemies in the commercial way for the 60 years, and probably was not too many people to figure out that we can merge, they can make sense. But back on the rational, on the industrial rational, and these synergies, I think is the only way that to create a clear leader or to the industry to compete and to invest in the next 15 or 20 years.
I mean, it's very complementary because, yes, you were competitors, but in the most part you weren't.
Yes.
But I mean, even if you look today, you won't sell a washing machine next to a book. It's still quite separate.
Quite separate. Because we love brands. In our business, I think brand is very significant, very important. I think even more today. This digital world, the power of the brand is even more important than in the analogical world. So this integration of FNAC and Darty has made with a total respect of the brands, and today the brands are totally separate, but we managed to integrate all the rest that the customer don't see, the logistic, the back office, the head office, etc., the IT, that the things that can create synergies, opportunities, capacity to invest, to innovate, and to support the brands but without any kind of impact on the promise of the brand. And that works. And today in our industry, still in the European level, there's too many players. There's a problem because this industry is very big. Yeah. It's around 300 billion euros for Europe, but there are thousands of players because this industry has been growing for the last 30 years. Now is the moment for the growth. Is probably not the same. And it's the moment to start to consolidate and to create a real players that can invest and continue to compete. This movie in France was probably the most relevant in the European industry for the last 40 years. We just finishing one in Italy. And for me, I think it should be the same thing for the next year. I know you met Buberl. He knows from the Best Buy perspective that one of the challenge and the chances that they had in the time we was CEO of Best Buy is that Best Buy is almost the only one competing with Amazon in these categories. Yeah. And that was a big opportunity for them to invest and to change the mentality. Imagine a Best Buy business in Europe is integrating the biggest players. And I don't know if it will happen in the next year, but it should be.
And Best Buy is more a story that stayed more focused on what they had around electric appliances. They didn't go broader in terms of books and so on. So your story is quite unique.
It's quite unique.
You don't have a second FNAC Darty.
No, but the scale in this area today to deeply invest in e-commerce and data, in experience is relevant no matter what is the mix of the product.
Exactly. And plus, if you think the potential is very much in AI around customer service, anticipating what the customer wants, then you can play this across all product lines. Yeah?
Yes, totally. And this integration, they create a lot of synergies and that help us to invest, to lead this industry, what is very relevant, very significant for the customer, but it's one of the lowest margin for the distribution in the world because this is very competitive. There's too many players. So it means that this integration, this synergy, this consolidation industry, that will be the only way to create a healthy branch of players, they can continue to invest and to develop this business.
And plus, if you go no more into services, which I hope for you that it's higher margin than the traditional business, you can also leverage the FNAC customer base for Darty for the services. Yeah.
I mean, when you do this consolidation in your country, you can invest in this kind of transformation because it costs a lot of money. Move on the business model, invest on the capabilities in logistics and after sales and teams and training is very expensive. So you need to create synergies and margin to invest in your future. It's the only way because we are not a state company. For sure we can ask for the shareholders to support us, but in the end we are a public company. We need to be profitable. We need to be able to generate cash flow to invest.
So you've been now with the company for 25 years.
Yes.
Do you still learn anything?
Always. I think you can lose the curiosity. If one day you wake up in your morning, there's nothing new and nothing exciting, it's a moment to move on. That's not for me. For the moment, I'm very curious about the future, what is coming. And I think we know that we have a big opportunity to move on and to create something cool. I'm quite excited. For sure, we need to learn because this business, my company, was nothing to compare with. I entered in 1998. In 1998, comparing with what's happening this year, probably nothing is the same.
Yeah. But how do you learn? Is it, for example, what you said earlier, through visiting stores, talking to store how do you learn?
Honestly, I have a chance to have a really talented team around me, around us. But it's not just the people that were working with me for the last 10 years, but it's people that are coming in the company and they're younger or not, but bringing new ideas, bringing new experience. And that's very important, refresh and to embrace new talent in the company. Talking with people, I think it's very important to be open to understand what's happening in other countries, other views, other leaders, what is the way they are looking for the future. And after, you need to find a way. You find your way, find your journey, and you move on as fast as you can. But be very curious about what's happening around you and very, very humble. I think be humble is the only way to accept your mistakes and to move on. I think everybody do mistakes. I think this is something when you are a new CEO is very difficult to accept. accept mistakes is really, really tough at the beginning. I think with the age, you understand that everybody do mistakes, and that's not very important. What is very important is what are you doing?
Exactly.
When you know that it's a mistake, yours or not, because mistakes is a normal way.
Making a mistake is not a mistake. Not reacting to a mistake is a mistake.
It's a very beautiful way to say it. And I'm truly convinced that it's not what happened to you, it's what you do for these things that works for your personal life too, not just for the job.
As a CEO, we also, we learn, we transform the business, but we also have a lot of worries. Yes. Because certainly in an environment that is not growing so much, where you have many risks, how do you deal with your worries?
Talking.
To?
People you trust. And for sure, there are people that are not ready to understand that your CEO is worried about it. And you must know that.
Because it could also be the negative that, if you are worried, then the whole ship starts to get worried.
They lose confidence, they'll be worried about it, and they don't generate. So I think it's a mix of that. Be worried, be transparent, share with your teams your things, but they say don't let you take that in a negative way to be too pessimistic. I think even more today, it's very easy to be pessimistic, very easy, but don't bring nothing in terms of energy.
Well, except it brings uncertainty, which you don't want.
But this is something you cannot control. So, for sure, there will be things that can happen in the future. What is the point? The point is to deal with the information and do things you are today in your hands. For sure, take prevention to be sure if it's something can come, what's your ability to react. This is important. But be negative today, I think this is a big thing. And probably, I don't know, I'm Spanish. I'm still Spanish, even living in Paris. Go for it. Don't be pessimistic. Bring energy. Keep optimistic in a smart way, not like an idiot way, for sure.
And that's very much in the trend of Spain today, one of the best performing countries in Europe with a minority government and still making it happen in a great way.
Even when the things are very bad, your teams are looking to you for you see if you are the man of the situation.
Exactly. You must not show. Yes. You must show weakness in a way that you make errors, you have worries, but you need to have a conviction of where you want to go. Over your time as a CEO, have you been keeping your management team rather stable, or have you changed it over time? Because creating trust in a team and forming a team would be more in the area of keeping the team stable. But if you want to change your business, you also need to change a few. What's your philosophy?
My philosophy is I'm very happy to maintain my team around me, the people that I trust and I respect. But sometimes you need to understand what is the moment for change, and this is very tough. But globally, I'm very stable. There are people that are following me for the last years. When we integrate FNAC and Darty, we keep a bunch of leaders of Darty and the team that is still working with me. This is very strong, Same when my team look at me being in the company for the last 26 years, this kind of stability. Same way when they look for their other leaderships, leaders continue to invest in the company and keep with us. There's a very strong message in a company like us. But also I'm very happy to integrate new leaders coming to bring new energy and ideas. I'm lucky because our brands, our history is very attractive. And we have the ability to attract and retain a very, very high level of talent. And that's critical. Without this talent, this company will not be the same.
You give the impression of a very balanced man. On the one hand, being very focused around a team that you can rely on, trust, but on the other hand as well, convictions to change the business. How do you manage to keep this calmness and balance?
I'm not very calm. I'm learning. There is a process. I think the age helps a lot. And I'm learning. I'm still learning how to be a good leader and to be relevant for the team. But I think it's important to keep this balance between the ambition, the meanings, support the team. This is part of the job. And I love, my experience in the management was after my experience on the collective sports in basketball, and was a basketball player, basketball coach. And I learned a lot about how to lead a team of players in a collective sport. And that's very important. Even the best player without a team is nothing. I'm the CEO for the last 7 years. And there's a question how I'm sure that I'm the best man, still being the best man for my job today. I'm energy enough, I'm brilliant enough. And that's a challenge, to prove yourself.
How do you make sure that you pass the test?
I don't know. I'm learning, I'm doing. But they put me in a position that I need to prove to myself that I'm not just enjoying the heritage, but I'm still deserving to be the man of the situation in a different position, in a different way.
And how do you measure it? Is it you're looking at your team, how they challenge you or react to you? Is it how you respond to what your board tells you? How do you determine whether you are still good enough or not?
I think there are a lot of data points there, but you need to find someone that they really told you what they really think. In your team.
Who would you pick?
I'm 2 persons in the team. I will not say the number.
No, you don't. I mean, but you take 2 out of your team.
They know me, and they are senior enough, and they trust enough to be very transparent and they say the things that they really think. And there's a feedback process or whatever. And it's very important, relevant to be sure that all the time you are testing that the things you are doing, you are not losing your ground. And also your family can help you a lot. Because in your professional life, we have a different reflex and different relationship, but move on your personal life and the thing behave yourself is very important, in your family and the close circle. The people there are probably very cash with you and they say, what you are doing is okay, your behavior, the way you look at, the way you're this interview in the TV. I'm much more critical in my home than in my company. They say you should, It's very important to keep this tension to continue to move on, even if you think that in your job you fit better than the 7 years ago, but still it's a process and you need to deserve every day.
Yeah. Look, this was a fascinating conversation. Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you and to tell our listeners, what is your advice to somebody who aspires to be a CEO? What should he or she do?
I think there's no way to be a CEO or have a responsibility if you are not authentic. That's the thing that they count a lot. For sure, you need to have a lot of energy and passion and a lot of work. But to lead something and to move forward and to bring it in with you, we should be authentic and have deep values and to respect your team. For sure, you take the best decision is easy. But for me, this is if I can give advice for someone else, is be honest.
Thank you very much, Enrique, for this conversation. I think if I take away 3 things, I think what you said to me is you need to excite yourself every day. And excitement comes from talking to your people, visiting your stores and take the energy from others. You have been a CEO for a long time, but learning is on your agenda every day. And certainly learning from others and questioning yourself. And the third one is transformation is not a threat. It's an opportunity and rather face it than shying away from it. Thank you very much.
Perfect, Jose. Thank you very much, Thomas.